Hi guys, welcome to Tomorrow Vlogs. My name is Motura Akwagosheta, and this video is for my friends who are going to law school. For all of you who know people who are going to law school or have resumed law school, whatever it is, kindly refer them to this video because I feel like it will be very, very vital for their stay in law school. So today I'm going to be talking about my law school experiences. It's going to be quite brief, but just, as a pointer to hint you on all that you need to know to be prepared for this one-year journey called law school. Firstly, I want to point out that law school is just a year, but I do not believe that it should just be about passing your bar exams because it's one whole year. I mean, you should also set out to do certain things in relation to your walk with God, in relation to your personal life and journey, aside from being so fixated on passing your bar exams. I feel that is why a lot of people get disappointed. For example, if they want a first class so bad and they've ignored every other aspect of their life so much that nothing else ever mattered to them, and then they end up getting a 2-1 or 2-2. I feel like that's one reason why they get so sad, because they feel like they put in so much and invested so much that they're not getting what exactly they hope they would get. So firstly, I would like you to understand that whatever it is that you're afraid of, whatever fear you have, whatever anxiety is in your mind about law school, it is nothing but fear. It is nothing but anxiety. It shouldn't be something tangible that you should hold on to, because you can succeed and you will succeed and you will excel in law school. It's just another year. It's just another institution. I'm sure you know that the last law school set had a record of 151 first classes. That means, I think that's the highest record of first classes. So yes, I'd like you to get rid of the fear factor, because fear does nothing but pull you down, and you do not need to be occupied by fear right now. You need to believe in yourself as you're about to embark on this journey, because that's all that you need. Secondly, whatever it is that you're bringing with you, whatever past anxiety and, some of you might have failed in your university days. Some of you might have not had such a good track record, and you feel like, oh, this is going to repeat itself again. I'm not good enough. Even people that I knew that excelled in university, they didn't do so well in law school, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't have to have that type of mentality about law school. Law school is a totally new place. It's a totally different field for you to do exploits, for you to actually prove to yourself that you're worth much more. I know a lot of people who didn't do so well in their university days. They had, 2-2s, and in law school, they made first class, they made 2-1. It's a totally different place for you to prove to yourself. There's no lecturer who is looking at you now. There's no reason why you should actually fail. You just need to be dedicated, believe in yourself, and get rid of fear. Thirdly, I would like to say that law school is an excellent opportunity for you to do so much. You can meet amazing people from different walks of life. I met one of the most amazing people in my life presently in law school. So it's an opportunity for you to widen your networks, for you to network, meet people that will be essential in your journey in life, because of course no man is an island. So instead of being fixated on the book thing, it's important to be dedicated to your studies, but also work on improving your networking abilities and selling yourself, because after law school, what's next? The real world. The next thing I'd like you to pay attention to is that you must not be so hard on yourself. So I know a lot of people are ready to kill the lectures, go for all the classes, be the first person to get to class and the last person to leave the library. I know your plans, don't worry. But the truth is, at some point you would break down if you keep at it. You can't be going to class 24/7 and going to the library and not resting well and not eating well and not sleeping well just because you want to come out of law school in the first class. It won't work that way. You have to realize that even if you are so dedicated and you feel in your spirit that you can pull it off, your body is also to be considered. There are so many factors to be considered, because your body might not be as strong as that. You have to stick to what works for you. For a lot of people, you find yourself sleeping in class. You'll find yourself sleeping in the library. You find yourself falling sick because you're not taking proper care of yourself. You have to eat well. You have to sleep well. You have to try to strike a balance. Trust me, I don't think that law school is all about reading more than sleeping or reading more than eating or whatever. It's just about striking a balance that works for you. Find what works for you. In law school, I remember I had a lot of friends who were always in the library 24/7. I also had a lot of people who were always in class 24/7, but that was not a guarantee of anything. It's just a matter of knowing what works for you, and you shouldn't try to fix yourself into someone else's schedule. You shouldn't feel jealous or angry at yourself when you see people reading much more than you're doing. It should be a push for you, but it shouldn't be something that would weigh you down. Honestly, I started reading mainly I started majorly reading during my externship schedule. I'm not saying you should start that. Please do not start that. I didn't advise you to do that. But my point is, I started reading during externship. Of course, I was going to class and everything, but my major reading, like for bar final and drafts and everything, was during externship. And I know a lot of people who also did that and came out with a first class. So that's to say that it's never too late. So if you find yourself entering law school with a drive and a zeal and a passion, and eventually you feel like you've kind of lost track, don't feel like it's too late. Don't start wailing and accept defeat, because you can still get right on track and be excellent. The next thing I want you to realize is law school is as much spiritual as it is physical. I don't know how to explain this thing. Maybe you should talk to people that finished last year, or people that are really close to you enough to dissect these things. But law school is not just about how much you read. There are a lot of factors. People fall sick during exams, people die during exams, people run mad during exams. There are so many factors about law school that is so overwhelming to me sometimes. What I'm trying to say in essence is, you cannot succeed, you cannot triumph out of law school on your own. You need God. Whatever it is that you worship, or whoever it is you call God, you need God. You need a force higher than you to survive law school. And I would recommend Jesus any day, anytime, because he's always there. You need somebody to be able to comfort you in those times when you're unsure of yourself. I'm going to be sharing very few experiences briefly about what happened to me in law school. I remember it was my first paper, property, was nice. My second, civil, was nice. Criminal was nice. And I think it was the fourth paper, corporate law and practice. And of course, with time, you know how wide corporate is. And the night before the exam, I had not read all that I needed to cover. I hadn't covered a lot of takeover sections and mergers and all that. A lot of topics that had so much under them, and I was really worried and I was very scared. And the morning of the exam, I had menstrual cramps, so like my day was a mess. I'm like, okay, I'm finished. Okay, I'm probably going to finish the pass. Oh my God, do I have to resit this exam? I was so worried. So I just tried to keep reading as much as I could take in. But sometimes you just have a brain block and nothing is coming in. I was trying to cram, because normally my normal self would pick up things no matter how last minute it is, but I couldn't do any of that. And I just kept praying. I just speaking in tongues. I was just asking God, why corporate of all courses and all that. But there was just this peace within me at some point, like, Tomorrow, just calm down, don't worry. I was talking to myself. I'm like, are you alright? How would you tell me not to calm down? Sometimes the Holy Spirit is talking to you and you're just trying to fight it because you feel like, no, you don't understand what's happening here. I was just telling the Holy Spirit, don't tell me to calm down. You don't understand. This is my back finals. I can't do this. I can't feel corporate. But it just kept reassuring me to, be calm and be at peace and everything. At some point, I broke down in tears. I was crying because I'm like, I've worked so hard for this exam to the best of my abilities. Why does this paper have to mess me up like this? And eventually, he just told me to go into the exam hall. So I went into the exam hall, and funny enough, I didn't even go with my exam sleep to make matters worse. Guess what I went in with? I went in with the sleep of confessions that was given to us in class phone. I remember I still have the sleep because it's so important to me. It was long. It was full of declarations and confessions. I would excel. It was full of Bible verses and scriptures. And if you know law school, the general rule is you cannot even afford to enter the exam hall with any type of foreign material. They don't want to know if it's the word of God or the Bible or jazz. They don't want to know what it is. If you enter with a foreign material, that's the end of your career as far as law school is concerned. So I entered the exam hall with it. The examiner who was taking me in saw it. I don't know whether she saw the exam slip. I don't even know what she saw. And she even commented. She even said, I like your, because I was tying a turban. She was like, I like your turban. And she smiled at me and let me in. It was not until I sat down that I realized I was not with my examination paper. And then they had already started sharing the questions, so I was so scared. And then I saw the questions, and it turned out that every single thing I had not read was in number 6. I wanted to shout, because how is it possible? This is the first time in a long while that mergers and takeover and all those bulky subjects, all those bulky topics were in number 6. All of them were in number 6. So I could basically answer all the remaining 5 questions as I wanted. It was a miracle for me, and I was almost in tears because I'm like, what manner of man is this. The thing is, God always has you. If you commit your ways into God's hands, if you let him know that you're nothing, like, don't try to say I'm smart, I had a first class in uni, or I had a 2-1 in uni, and I can do this on my own. You have to commit your ways into God's hands and trust him every step. Now, the second thing that happened in that exam hall of corporate was that they came around looking at our exam numbers. Sometimes they do that just to cross-check, just to see whether or not you're actually the one writing the exam. So they came and they were at my back. There was an invigilator at my back trying to check for my friends, see me, trying to check for exam sleep. They checked the exam sleep, walked towards me. I was shaking and I was sweating like, God, I am finished. Is this how I'm going to end? Because when they asked for my exam sleep, what would I give them? Declaration. Like, what is that? And guess what? He came towards me and the other invigilator called him. So he lost track of who he was talking to, and then he went to the next person right in front of me, thinking that he had checked mine. You can see the type of miracles that actually exist. This is not a coincidence. It is not a mistake. It was nothing that you can explain or comprehend with your human mind. It was obviously God. And that exam was a huge success, and I finished law school triumphant. So what I'm here to tell you is that whatever your troubles are, even at the stage of the exam, even at the last point, because you would have some troubles, whatever it is not worth weighing you down. You should trust in the person who made you writing the exam possible in the first place. And if you're praying to God, I would recommend that you ask for peace, not excellence, not a first class necessarily, not wisdom or knowledge or understanding, because you already have that. But one thing that you need is peace, the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. Because all through, apart from corporate, all through my other 4 papers, I was so calm, I was smiling, I was laughing in the exam hall. I was even surfing Instagram during the night before exams, when everybody was doing overnight. I never did one overnight. I'm not trying to say all these things are bad, but I'm just trying to tell you that really sometimes it's not about how much you work, but based on God's peace and God's love resting upon you. I was on Instagram some nights. I was so calm. People were asking me, why are you laughing? Like, what's funny? I would come out of the exam hall laughing, not because I feel like, oh, I killed it, or not because I'm bragging like, oh, that was good, but just because I was at peace, because I knew that it wasn't about what I wrote, but about what God was about to do for me. And yes, he did show himself. So, all these things I've said, the bottom line is, number one, you have to realize that law school is much more than you can handle with your own skill. You need God. And that's one thing that everybody who passed through law school successfully will tell you. You need God to be there for you. You need to be calm. You need to believe in yourself, because you cannot trust God if you don't trust yourself. That's the truth. If you don't trust yourself, sometimes you cannot trust God, because you don't trust you, who you can see. How would you trust God, who you cannot see, who you merely have a relationship with? The same way you cannot love someone else if you don't love yourself. So all these things are very fundamental in scaling law school. So make sure you have fun. Make sure you network. Don't be too hard on yourself. Rest, read, pray, and just believe in yourself, because you're going to do amazing. If you have any questions whatsoever about law school, I'm free to answer it. And I wish you such an amazing time at law school, whether it's Lagos or Enugu or Yola or whatever. Just have an amazing time.